It's Christy, your punk rock Sherlock, and today we're going to talk about Colin Gray. Okay, little housework here. If you haven't already, click on the subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. Click on the little bell to get notified. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, keep your mouth shut. Well, it's a sad state of affair when we are at the point of Americans where we're like, oh, another shooting, another mass shooting, another school shooting. It's become so commonplace, we're not even shocked or outraged as we used to be. And it's really, really sad. And let's just start this by saying this is not a gun debate. This is just me stating the facts that I know of what happened. I will say I am a gun owner. I have gone to many classes at the Armory. I have actually done the concealed carry classes, which in our great state of Tennessee, our stupid ass governor decided, you know what, we are not even going to worry about you needing to have a carry permit or open carry. It's totally fine. Whatever. Let it also note that Governor Bill Lee had no political training at all, no political experience. He created an HVAC company. So, yeah, enough said about that. Do not love that guy. Anyway, back to the story. Colin Gray, ironically named after a gun. Whether consciously or unconsciously, he's named after a gun, a Colt. That irony was not lost on me. So he had just transferred to this school. This was like day 2 from what I'm finding of him even being in that school. Day 2. One student said he'd missed a lot of classes, but I don't know that he had. Like the first day he spent a lot of it in the counselor's office because he was having some anxiety, he said. So evidently this kid had mental issues. Does not mean that's going to make for anyone to be having issues with guns at all. He'd gotten up to leave the room to go to the bathroom, I'm assuming. So the doors in that school lock automatically. And the teacher has to, like, buzz you in to unlock the door to let you come in. Or you've got to open it from the inside.
So students go back to open the door for him, and they backed away. I'm guessing they saw something, but for some reason they didn't open the door. And I can just see him kind of turn to the side, like what would have been my right, and you just hear gunshots. And then everyone just kind of ducks to the floor.
School resource officers finding him moments after the shooting with an AR-15 style rifle. Now, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation saying Gray has been charged with 4 counts of felony murder. Police identifying the victims as 14-year-old students Christian Angulo and Mason Schermerhorn, teachers Richard Aspinwall and Christina Iremi.
And they have these like little tags that if they push the button so many times, that lets off an alert, which is why there were alerts, and the school resource officers found him quickly, within minutes, okay? So goes out to use the bathroom, comes back in, can't automatically come in. A girl gets up to go open the door, and I guess she sees the gun and just won't let him in. So he turns, and that's when he heads to the other classroom. So because this girl saw that gun, assumingly, that's what saved that entire classroom. It's insane. So, you know, Colt's had some issues growing up. Very unstable family. It seems like a typical redneck family. No offense to rednecks out there. He lives with his father. Like, the mom and dad separated. The mom has the 2 younger siblings. She lives about 200 miles away or something like that, I read. And the dad, oh my God, this guy seems like a winner. Keep in mind, this is only my opinion, but I'm right. Lives with the father. Now, the mom was arrested. I guess during the breakup, she came and she scratched up the father's car, and she was found with meth. That when they were together living in this rental, when they were a big happy family all together, she would sometimes lock the kids out, and they would be beating on the door yelling, "Mom, Mom." She was found one time in the car, passed out, drunk, with music blaring in the car. So he had a very unstable family life, to say the least. But so did I. I never shot anything up yet. Just kidding. He was being picked on at his previous school. He was getting bullied, picked on. People called him gay. But here's the thing. You don't buy a gun for a kid that's being relentlessly picked on and bullied. Why the dad thought that was a great idea. So, father, this past Christmas, so May 2023, just 13 years old, he was questioned about comments that he'd made about shooting up a school. Denies it. That Christmas, 7 months later, the dad buys him an AR-style gun for Christmas. They just had the conversation in May, buys the gun in Christmas.
According to a source familiar with the investigation, new details have emerged from the search of the suspect's home. Documents found in his bedroom, believed to be written by him, reference past school shootings, including the 2018 massacre in Parkland, Florida. But this wasn't the first time the suspect had a run-in with law enforcement. A 2023 investigative report says that last year the local sheriff's office received a tip from the FBI about a series of anonymous threats on the chat platform Discord to, quote, shoot up a middle school tomorrow. The tip included photo attachments with a profile name in Russian that translated to Adam Lanza, the Sandy Hook shooter. The suspect and his father were both interviewed, and while his father acknowledged hunting rifles existed in the home, he said his son did not have unsupervised access to them. The suspect denied making the threats to shoot up a school, stating that he would never say such a thing, even in a joking manner. The case was ultimately cleared because law enforcement couldn't substantiate the threats. Now, we've learned Gray's father told investigators he bought the AR-15 for his son after that investigation, and several months before he transferred into Appalachia High School. And authorities are trying to figure out how the suspect managed to get that rifle into the school, especially because he was so new.
He is enrolled in school 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and only been in school 2 days.
You heard anybody on Discord when you were using it say something like that? Do you remember?
Like, at that time?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I mean, I'm not trying to get anybody hemmed up, but like, this is some serious stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, he knows how serious it is, trust me.
Because I'd hate to, my boss was like, even like, I don't know how old this information is, and if you want to wait till Monday to follow up, and I was like, nah, I'd rather do it now, because
so would we.
Because God forbid something happened and I didn't do my job, I'd feel pretty bad about this. Do you have weapons in the house?
I do.
Are they accessible to him?
They are. I mean, there's nothing loaded, but they are down.
Okay.
We do a lot of shooting. We do a lot of deer hunting. He shot his first deer this year.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I'm pretty much in shock, to be honest with you.
Well,
I'm a little pissed off, to be even really honest with you. If that is what was said.
Obviously, the father didn't take those threats seriously. Didn't consider his son as the suspect that may have made those threats. The visit by the local sheriff's department investigators to talk to the son and the father as a 13-year-old kid that possibly made those threats, you would think that it might wake the father up, that maybe he didn't know everything he should know about his son. And it's disheartening that he would be so stupid as to, he says in the interview that my son does have access to weapons and, they're not loaded, but he has access to them. And then he just increases that access with an additional rifle that was tragically used yesterday.
So Colin Gray, 54, who appeared in court after his son faces 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, this is the dad, 2 counts of second-degree murder, 8 counts of cruelty to children. If convicted, he faces 180 years in prison. This is Colin, the father. His charge stemmed from knowingly allowing his son to possess a weapon. The primary hearing for both cases is set for December 4th, but an arraignment not set yet, unless that's what happened the other day. Colin Gray reportedly told the police that he purchased the weapon used in the shooting as a Christmas present for his son last year. Colt Gray was interviewed last year by a sheriff who received a tip from the TBI that he had possibly threatened to shoot up a middle school tomorrow. the threat was made on Discord, which is like a platform that a lot of gamers get on. So it's like videos and like a social media platform. So kind of like a mix between YouTube and Facebook, sort of. So the threat came on Discord. The post read, "I'm committing a mass shooting and I'm waiting a good 2 to 3 years. I can't kill myself yet because I'm not contributing anything to culture. I need to go out knowing I did." And then the poster added, "I'm ready," and appeared like with in a photo with 2 guns. So that was the post in question. The post referenced Sandy Hook school shootings and expressed frustration with the acceptance of transgender people. So that's new to me, hearing that, reading these articles. So, speaking to police in May of 2023, Colin Gray said he'd recently separated from his son's mother and that she took his younger 2 children, leaving him to care for Colt, who he said was struggling at Jefferson Middle School. So Colin Gray said he was trying to teach his son about weapons and to get him interested in the outdoor in order to get him away from those video games. He showed the picture to the officer of his son with blood smeared on his face and said it was from when the teen shot his first deer, in which the father described as the best day ever. The father said that, best day ever. So this dad is a piece of work, and I really meant to say a different word than work. And let me explain something real quick. AR is just, it's a brand. Armalite rifles, okay? It doesn't mean assault rifle. AR does not mean assault rifle. It's Armalite rifles. But you get an idea of what the style of that gun is. So they didn't say it was an AR, but it was that style of gun. So the dad, here he is bragging about his son shooting his first deer, rubbing the blood all over him, which I've got a lot of hunters in my family. I recall no pictures of them with blood wiped all over their faces. That sounds crazy, which clearly it is. That dad has got some issues, all right? So how can he give his kid a gun of any kind just months after being accused of making threats to shoot up schools? Where's the logic in that? Where?
They told you the maximum penalty for the crimes for which you are charged. That's correct, except for the fact that you are under 18 years old. So I wanted to inform you and make it clear to you that the penalty for the crimes for which you are charged does not include death. Good morning, sir. Are you Mr. Colin Gray? Am I pronouncing your first name correctly? Mr. Gray, my name is Curry Mingledorf. I'm assigned to preside over this morning's proceeding. This is your first appearance hearing. And at this hearing, I'm first going to ask you just a few questions, and then I'm going to advise you of your rights and also let you know about a preliminary hearing that's been scheduled for you. Why don't you just state your name, please? All right, pull the microphone down, please. There you go. All right, and how old are you, Mr. Gray?
54.
And are you able to read and write and understand the English language without any difficulty?
Yes, sir.
How far did you go in school?
11th grade GED.
Okay. And I note that you have counsel seated with you at the table. You understand that you have the right to be represented by an attorney at all times for this and all future proceedings in your case?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that, of course, if you cannot afford an attorney, that the public defender will be appointed to represent you upon your request?
Yes, sir.
All right. And counsel, would you identify yourself, please, for the record?
Donna Seagraves. We are going to have new counsel assigned to Mr. Gray later today.
All right. Thank you. All right. Okay. Sorry. Just need to make sure that the system is working. And all right, so the following aren't questions that I'm going to ask. I'm just informing you of some things. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you at further hearings or at a trial on the charges that you're facing. For this hearing, you're not going to be questioned about facts and circumstances surrounding your charges. You are currently charged with, and you'll be provided with copies of the warrants if you don't already have them. You're currently charged with 2 counts of felony murder in the second degree. You're charged with 4 counts of involuntary. You're charged with felony cruelty to children in the second degree. Now, for these offenses, for the felony murder counts in the second degree, felony murder in the second degree, the maximum penalty for each count is up to 30 years imprisonment. For felony involuntary manslaughter, of course, again, there are 4 counts. The maximum penalty for each of those offenses is 10 years imprisonment. For the 8 felony cruelty to children counts, the maximum penalty under the law for each of those 8 counts is 10 years imprisonment, for a maximum total possible penalty for the charges that you currently are facing of 180 years imprisonment.
So the father being charged, letting his son possess a gun in the first place, let alone after all this, charges with second degree felony murder, and that's 30 years. So that's the son, what the son's facing. 2 charged with second degree felony murder, 30 years apiece. And then the dad, 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 10 years each. 8 felony cruelty to children, second degree. And maybe he is getting charged with the murder as well, second degree felony murder. Altogether, 180 years. 180 years. I don't know if they would, if he gets convicted, if they'll be consecutive or, I don't know. And it's so sad that nothing can be done. You know, if somebody can make threats, because they were saying that there was like really no way of tying him to those comments, even though they have his IP address, they confront him. Oh, I'd never say anything like that, Daddy. What 13-year-old says daddy? But anyway, so only in class 2 days, the 2 officers who confronted him, he put the gun down right away and said, I did it. Wow. Bullied. Yeah, I bet he was bullied at home. I would put money that he was bullied at home. All right? Because, you know, here you've got this macho Colin dad, probably encouraged the kid to rub the blood on his face. Because, you know, guns are signs of virility and masculinity. And here he's being called gay. I bet his dad called him gay. I put money on it. I bet his dad forced him to go hunting. I bet it wasn't his idea to go hunting. He was probably happy playing video games. But no, Dad forced him to. I wouldn't doubt he's getting bullied at school, but I bet he's getting bullied at home. I'd say that's the first place he got bullied, is probably at home. With the dad, I wouldn't doubt if the words came out of his mouth is, I don't want a queer for a son. I don't know that he said that, but I wouldn't doubt that he said that. He probably, I'm sure the most horrible thing in his mind would be having a gay child. And where I read about the transgender, that's the first time I've heard that. So I'm sure he heard that coming out of his father's mouth. I wouldn't doubt that. So it's just disgusting to me. I mean, I grew up with guns in the house. We had a loaded rifle and a loaded shotgun. Always loaded, under the bed. I knew never to touch them because I knew my behind would be torn up. But they also showed me how, like, if someone were to break in, and you had to think fast, which Millersville, we lived in a house without running water. I doubt a lot of people are going to be breaking into that house. Anyway, point being, you know, we had guns. I remember going to high school, and like some of the boys would have gun racks in their trucks with guns on them, and no one thought anything about it. You know, they were gonna maybe go hunting after school, not a big deal. And I never felt threatened at all. And you know, bullies have been around since the beginning of time, and it just makes you wonder what is happening right now to make bullying be such an issue that the kids are reacting so extremely by bringing guns to school and having these shootings. Again, that's almost a complete subject for another day of why are there so many mass shootings. I mean, it's like there's one a week or close to one a week. I mean, statistically, in the United States, there's one almost every week. It's becoming normal. And other countries are looking at us like we're violent because, well, we are. Now, are there shootings in other countries? Sure. Are there stabbings? Absolutely. But to the extent that there are in the United States, no, it's crazy. And we're getting to the point where we're just, you know, oh, that's just par for the day. And my opinion, again, this is not a gun debate. No one needs an AR style gun. You don't need one. You're not hunting with that. If you say you're hunting with that, you're not a very good hunter, first of all, in my opinion, because, you know, my family used rifles and shotguns. Nothing like that needs that size of capacity. No. If you're coming up with reasons why you need one of those kind of guns, yeah, I mean, it's not to protect your home. You don't need a gun like that to protect your home. Come on now. Yeah, I've got a 9mm. I'm pretty sure I can effectively protect my home with that. People are just, it's become an extension of these men. And yeah, I'm saying men. Because most of these shooters are men. 99%. And, wow, are you that insecure with your manhood that you need a weapon like that? Is it a sign of you know, just flash, like is that having that kind of gun the equivalent to having a sports car? Is it just a status symbol? Regardless, these parents have failed this child. Does not excuse him for what he did. I mean, like I said, there's tons of people who've been bullied and nobody goes and shoots up anything, schools, churches, stores. But man, they failed him. And I put a lot on that father. And I hope that father does get everything. This is, I think, the second case where parents are being held accountable for the actions of their kids. And we're probably going to see more of it. So let that be a lesson to you. Don't buy your kid a gun. I've seen memes that say, buy him a guitar. Yeah, you're not going to kill anybody with a guitar. Well, you could, but you can't. You probably won't. And you might get a girlfriend so people won't call you gay. Boom. Just saying. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry I'm a little grr about that subject, but it feels like no one's got an answer and no one's trying. Hold your kids tight. Love them. Because you never know when you're going to see each other again. So, again, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Click on the little bell. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and come back and see me again.